Stretch, big stretch.
It's fall here in New England. It's fall here in New England, if you couldn't tell already by the fall shots. We're gonna make a white bean soup today. We're gonna make a white bean soup today. It's a really, really simple dish to make, and what I like to add to it is some kale. And we have a ton of kale here in the garden. So I'm gonna harvest some of this. We have some dried beans we're gonna pressure cook, add some onions and garlic, and that's really it. It's really simple and it tastes great. And it's that perfect kind of comforty food that you want when it's starting to get cold. You can go home and boom, it's there. What I also like, white bean soup is really neat because if you, after you're done eating it, you can cook it down a little more and you can mash it and make a white bean paste, which is really good on sandwiches. So you can have your soup that night and then you can make a white bean paste sandwich later on.
Paste sandwich good.
Paste sandwiches are very good. A little white bean paste and some avocado and lettuce on like a nice piece of bread. That's, what more can you want? Here you go, love a bouquet of kale. What better way to say I love you? Hey!
Eating my bouquet,
This is not food, Henry.
It is food.
Well, it's not dog food.
It's comfort food.
It's comfort food, yeah. She might like kale, who knows. You can make a white bean soup with either canned beans or dried beans. I don't have any canned beans with me today, but they work really well, especially when you're in like a rush. You just throw canned beans in, onions, boom, and you're done. I've got one of those bags you get at the grocery store, are just white beans. They're called navy beans, or you can also get Great Northern beans. You know, they're white beans, which I love. So first thing you got to do is you have to rinse them, because even though they do rinse them at the plant where they package this, every once in a while you can get a little grit, a little dirt in there or something, and that is not fun to bite into.
Bean grit.
Bean grit is bad. What we're going to use is a pressure cooker today. This is my pressure cooker, which my stepmother-in-law was very nice enough to buy me. This is called a Magafisa, which is a really nice one. The older ones, I guess, had a reputation for, you know, it was folklore that they blew up or whatever. Well, this thing has a bunch of safety features in it. The beauty of pressure cooking is that it cooks foods a lot faster. Like beans, normally you would have to soak them overnight and then cook them for an hour and a half or something. The pressure cooker, they're unsoaked, you put them in here, and it's about 30 minutes. It's 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the age of the bean. The beans have been around for a year, they're a little more dry and it takes longer to cook. If you soak your beans overnight and put them in a pressure cooker, it takes about 9 minutes to cook them. So it's a really beautiful thing. So you're going to bring these beans to a boil, turn down the flame, and then you're going to put the lid of your pressure cooker on, turn it, and lock it. While our beans are cooking, I've got one onion that I chopped up, and we're going to cook this in some olive oil with some chopped garlic, and we're just going to saute it really slowly. These can be finished before your beans are, just turn the heat off. Let the olive oil heat up, and then put in your onion.
Should it sizzle?
Yeah, but I put it in before the, I screwed up basically. Here, I'll do the stir shot. Alright, so perfect world, we would sizzle when we put the onions in, but I forgot. Just some chopped garlic. I'm not going to put it through the mincer this time because we're going to cook it slowly. Okay, so what I did was I cooked the beans out. That's hot. I cooked the beans for 20 minutes and then I turned the heat off and I let it sit for 10 minutes. Just let the steam go down. You should read the instructions that come with your pressure cooker about how to cook things and how to open it after you've cooked things. I've got a colander with a bowl because I want to save some of the liquid. So take this and pour it out. I've turned the heat back on the onions. So onions are perfect. You want them kind of golden-y, translucent. Pour the beans in. And I'm going to take some of this cooking liquid. You could also use chicken stock if you want, vegetable stock. That looks great. That looks excellent. If you've got them laying around, what I like to add is some cheese rinds. You know, you've got your Parmesan cheese or your Romano cheese, because you're not buying grated Parmesan cheese or Romano cheese, right? Because it tastes like cardboard. I just take the whole rinds here. If you've got if you've got the black wax, you should cut this off. And I add this to the soup. I cut into a couple of pieces, and then you just let this cook. You can let it cook for 10 minutes. You could let it simmer for an hour. Just take these big rind pieces. You can even slice off if there's some decent cheese on the end. Take that and cut it up and throw it in. Because this stuff melts down and it just adds a cheesy creaminess, I guess that's what you would call it, to the mix. You know, if you like, you can pull them out before you serve, but I just like to leave them in. Kind of a happy thing people find. Sit. You know, a lot of people, they'll trim the stems off the kale like this. They'll just take it and cut them like this, and then cut it like this. I think it's a lot of work. What I do is I take the kale and I grab it at the end here, and I grab it here, and I just pull it up, and it comes off like that. I mean, it doesn't have to look fancy. Just grab it and pull it. You want your kale to be in bite-sized pieces, so I just roll it up like this, and just cut the ends. Another thing I like to add, you don't have to add it, but I have like an Italian seasoning mix that I buy. Or you can just be oregano, or it could just be marjoram, or rosemary. You know, if you have a rosemary plant, go cut up a couple of big hunks and throw it in there as well. This makes it Italian, I guess, but I don't know, I just like it in there. So this is cooking nicely. I'm going to try and not fog the camera lens this time. But you can see the cheese is breaking down. You know, it smells great. I'm just going to take some of this seasoning and put it in here. You can put in as little or as much as you like. It's eye of the beholder. In goes our kale. The kale will cook in about 2 seconds. I'm going to add a little bit more of the bean water stock. You can also, if you want, is if you have some pesto laying around from the other night, or you got a little jar of that stuff you can buy in the store, like you put a bowl of the beans down, not pasta, the beans, and then just put a dollop of pesto in the middle of it, and then serve it, and it's like, it's great. It's just like, it's this green and this bean, and it mixes all around, and that's that fall comfort food thing I'm talking about. I think you really like it. So this has been cooking for a couple minutes, no big deal. Kale's cooked down. It's that one-handed graceful ladling technique I have. Maybe the kale I could have cut a little bit more, but you know, what the heck. But you can see in here, you see those big chunks? That's the cheese rinds. That just gives it this really neat creaminess. Oh, I'm fogging. Finish this off, I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil across the top, you know, that little drizzle thing like they do in the TV shows. But it really does kind of add a little fresh olive oil flavor because I don't have any pesto or anything. So we're just going to take this, take just a little bit like that. Okay, so a little bit of salt and pepper, and we're ready to taste. All right, I should have cut the kale a little bit shorter because it's really long, but what can you do? That's fall. That's that onion, bean, creamy, cheesy. That's just great. And it's simple food. That's what I really like. It's just simple to make. People like it. You can make it beforehand. You can have it for dinner with everybody. The next day it tastes even better because everything's kind of melded a little bit. Again, it can be really simple. It could be canned beans, some onions, cooked, boom, you're done, or it can be a bit more of a long-term thing. Lynn has just come back from the barn, so she's ready for a taste test.
There's a lot of kale in here.
Yeah, I cut the kale a little too big, but it's good for you.
It's good for you,
Come on,
babe.
eat that gracefully. That's good, huh?
It is good. Okay, yeah, let's bring it off. Good girl, honey.